Reverend Insanity, Chapter 8. Things remain, but people have changed. A Gu room stood beside the academy. It was not large, measuring only 60 square meters. In a Gu master's cultivation, Gu worms were the key to strength. The moment the lesson ended, the excited youths swarmed towards the Gu room.
Form a line. Enter one at a time.
An angry shout rang out. Naturally, someone stood guard outside the door. The youths entered one by one, then emerged again. Soon, it was Fang Yuan's turn to enter the Gu room. The room held far more than its modest exterior suggested. All four walls had been fashioned into rows of recessed compartments, each square cubbyhole set closely beside the next. They varied in size. The largest was no bigger than a cooking pot, while the smallest was scarcely larger than a fist. The densely packed compartments contained all manner of vessels: gray stone basins, green jade plates, delicate grass cages, and clay braziers. Within these vessels, many different kinds of Gu worms were being raised. Some remained utterly silent, while others were exceedingly noisy, producing chirps, clacks, rustles, and countless other sounds that merged into a symphony of life.
Gu worms are also divided into 9 great ranks, corresponding to the 9 ranks of Gu masters. Every Gu worm here is rank 1.
Fang Yuan swept his gaze around the room and immediately understood everything before him. Generally speaking, a rank 1 Gu master could use only rank 1 Gu worms. If a Gu master tried to activate a higher-ranked Gu worm, they would often pay an extremely severe price. Gu worms also needed to be fed, and the cost of feeding a higher-ranked Gu worm was usually more than a lower-ranked Gu master could bear. Unless special circumstances demanded otherwise, newly awakened Gu masters always chose a rank 1 Gu worm for their first refinement. The first Gu worm a Gu master refined held tremendous significance and was known as their vital Gu. Its life became intertwined with the Gu master's own. If it died, the Gu master would inevitably suffer a grave injury.
Sigh. I had hoped to obtain the flower wine monk's liquor worm and refine it into my vital Gu. But there is still no trace of the flower wine monk's remains. Who knows when I will find them, or whether somebody else will discover them first. To be safe, I should choose a Moonlight Gu.
Sighing inwardly, Fang Yuan walked straight towards the wall on his left. One of the higher rows of compartments held a line of silver plates. A single Gu worm rested upon each one. These Gu worms were crystalline and translucent, curved like crescent moons and resembling pieces of blue crystal. Against the silver plates beneath them, they gave off a quiet and secluded air. This Gu was called the Moonlight Gu, the Gu Yue clan's signature Gu worm. The great majority of clansmen chose one as their vital Gu. It was not a naturally occurring Gu worm, but one cultivated through the Gu Yue clan's secret methods. It could not be found anywhere else, and could therefore be called the symbol of the Gu Yue clan. All of them were rank 1 Moonlight Gu, with only the most minute differences between them. Fang Yuan casually selected one and picked it up. The Moonlight Gu was extremely light, weighing no more than a sheet of thin paper. It occupied only a small patch of his palm and was about the size of an ordinary jade pendant. As it rested in his hand, he could see the obscured lines of his palm through its translucent body. After one final look revealed no problems, Fang Yuan slipped it into his pocket and left the Gu room. A long queue still waited outside. The next youth saw Fang Yuan emerge and immediately rushed into the room in high spirits. Anyone else who had obtained a Gu worm would have hurried home at once to refine it. Fang Yuan, however, was in no rush to do so. His thoughts were still fixed upon that liquor worm. The liquor worm was more precious. Although the Moonlight Gu was a speciality of Gu Yue village, it could not aid a Gu master's cultivation as greatly as the liquor worm could. After leaving the Gu room, Fang Yuan went directly to the wine shop.
Shopkeeper, 2 jars of aged wine.
Fang Yuan reached into his pocket and placed his remaining fragments of primeval stone upon the counter. The shopkeeper was a short, fat, middle-aged man with an oily face. After Fang Yuan's visits over the past several days, he already remembered him.
Welcome back, sir.
As he greeted Fang Yuan, the shopkeeper extended a thick, stubby hand and expertly swept away the primeval stone fragments. He bounced them in his palm and judged their weight to be correct. The smile on his face grew a little warmer. Primeval stones were the currency of this world, used to measure the value of every commodity. At the same time, they were condensed essence of heaven and earth. Gu masters could use them directly to aid their cultivation. Primeval stones possessed the properties of both currency and commodity, making them much like gold on earth. Earth had once used a pure gold standard. This world used a pure primeval stone standard instead. Compared with gold, the purchasing power of primeval stones was likewise astonishing. Yet no quantity of primeval stones could withstand Fang Yuan's constant spending.
2 jars of wine every day, for 7 full days. The primeval stones I had saved are almost gone.
Fang Yuan left the wine shop carrying 2 jars, his brow slightly furrowed. Once a person became a Gu master, they could draw pure primeval essence directly from a primeval stone to replenish the primeval sea within their aperture. To a Gu master, primeval stones were therefore not merely currency, but also an aid to cultivation. With enough primeval stones, a Gu master's cultivation speed could rise considerably, offsetting some of the disadvantages of poorer aptitude.
Tomorrow, I will have no primeval stones left to buy wine, yet the liquor worm still refuses to appear. Must I truly refine the Moonlight Gu into my vital Gu?
Fang Yuan was somewhat unwilling to accept that outcome.
The Academy Elder said the first person to refine their vital Gu in this assessment will receive 20 primeval stones. By now, many of them are probably at home exerting every ounce of effort to refine their Gu worms and claim first place. Unfortunately, refining a vital Gu is an immense test of aptitude. Those with better aptitude hold an overwhelming advantage. With my C-grade aptitude and no other methods at hand, I have no hope of winning.
As Fang Yuan walked with a wine jar in each hand, pondering his situation, Gu Yue Fang Zheng's voice sounded behind him.
Brother, you really did come back to the wine shop to get drunk again. Come with me. Uncle and Aunt want to see you.
Fang Yuan stopped and turned to look. He found that his younger brother no longer bowed his head as he spoke, as he always had before. The 2 brothers' gazes met. A gust of wind howled past, lifting the elder brother's loose black hair and stirring the younger brother's robe. In the space of 1 short month, things remained, but people had changed. The Aperture Awakening ceremony 1 week earlier had brought an enormous change to both brothers. Fang Yuan had fallen from the clouds, the halo of genius stripped from him without mercy. Meanwhile, Fang Zheng had begun to shine, rising steadily like a new star. For Gu Yue Fang Zheng, this transformation had overturned heaven and earth. At last he had tasted what his elder brother once experienced, the expectations placed upon him, and the envious or jealous gazes that followed him. He felt as though he had suddenly been lifted from a dark corner and placed within a paradise filled with light. Every day when he awoke, he felt as though he were living inside a beautiful dream. The difference in how he was treated was like that between heaven and earth. Even now, he found it difficult to believe and felt intensely ill at ease. He was unaccustomed to it. In an instant, he had gone from obscurity to being watched closely, discussed, and pointed at wherever he went. Sometimes, as Fang Zheng walked along the road and heard passers-by discussing and praising him, his face would burn red. He would not know where to put his hands or feet, his gaze darting aside until he nearly forgot how to walk. Over the first dozen or so days, Gu Yue Fang Zheng inexplicably grew thinner, but his energy and vitality only became more abundant. From the deepest reaches of his heart, something called confidence began to take root.
So this is how brother used to feel. How wonderful, yet painful.
He could not help thinking of his elder brother, Gu Yue Fang Yuan. How had Fang Yuan once dealt with all this attention and discussion? Fang Zheng subconsciously began to imitate him, feigning an expressionless face, but soon discovered he was not suited to it. At the academy, a single cry from a girl could leave his face bright red. On the road, the teasing of older women had sent him fleeing in embarrassment more than once. Like an infant learning to walk, he stumbled his way through adapting to his new life. Throughout the process, he inevitably heard the rumors about his brother, that Fang Yuan had become dejected and dispirited, that he had taken to drink, stayed out all night, and slept through lessons at the academy. At first, Fang Zheng was deeply shocked. His elder brother, such a powerful and brilliant genius, had actually become like this. Gradually, however, he began to understand. His brother was only human. Faced with such a setback and blow, it was natural for him to lose heart. Alongside that understanding, Fang Zheng felt a faint, indescribable pleasure. He desperately did not want to acknowledge that feeling, but it undeniably existed. The elder brother, hailed as a genius, the brother who had always oppressed him like a shadow, was now so fallen and dispirited. Viewed from the other side, did this not serve as proof of his own growth?
I am the outstanding one. That is the truth.
Thus, when Gu Yue Fang Zheng saw Fang Yuan carrying 2 wine jars, his hair loose and his clothing untidy, he breathed an immense sigh of relief inwardly. For some inexplicable reason, breathing suddenly felt much easier.
Brother, you cannot keep drinking. You cannot go on like this. You have no idea how much the people who care about you are worrying. You must pull yourself together.
Fang Yuan remained expressionless and said nothing. The brothers stared into one another's eyes. Gu Yue Fang Zheng's eyes shone with a sharp light. Fang Yuan's dark eyes, however, were as deep as an ancient, secluded pool. Those eyes filled Fang Zheng with an inexplicable sense of oppression. Before long, he instinctively shifted his gaze away and looked to one side. The moment he realized what he had done, a surge of anger rose within him. It was anger directed at himself.
What is wrong with me? Do I not even have the courage to meet my brother's gaze? I have changed completely.
With that thought, his gaze sharpened and swept back towards Fang Yuan. But Fang Yuan was no longer looking at him. Carrying a wine jar in each hand, he walked straight past his younger brother.
Why are you still standing there? Let us go.
Fang Zheng's breathing faltered. The breath of defiance he had gathered inside himself was left with nowhere to go, filling him with an indescribable frustration. Seeing that his elder brother had already walked some distance away, he could only quicken his pace and follow. This time, however, his head was no longer lowered. He held it high and faced the setting sun. His eyes remained fixed upon his own feet as they stepped, one after another, upon the shadow cast by Fang Yuan ahead of him.